Good morning, traders and investors. It's Tuesday, November 11th. Yeah, everyone should this morning proudly pause today and express their thanks and admiration for the veterans who served our countries with courage and honor. And, some of us or a lot of us may not be here today if it wasn't for everything that's happened in the past. So this is a big day. Make sure they're in your mind, and thank you, everyone. All right, well, let's jump into the charts. We have equities trading slightly lower after yesterday's kind of oversold bounce in the market. We have the S&P 500 pulling back 1/3%, the NASDAQ down 0.5%. But overall, we had a very big kind of rebound. So this is a typical type of pause or pullback. We do have momentum stalling. This pullback was pretty darn strong on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. We can see that on our 30-minute chart here. In fact, we've got orange bars on the NASDAQ. If we go to the S&P 500, you can see here we have orange bars as well. That's telling us the strong green uptrend momentum is stalling and is starting to go neutral. We talked about this last night in the afternoon update. We had this bounce, and that is the big question. Was yesterday's move higher, is it a bounce within a new downtrend, meaning we could see it roll over and sell off, or is it the start of a rally? So we need to see the traction really still pick up here over the next couple of days, or this market could stall out and roll over. Now, if we look at the big long-term trends, obviously the weekly chart of the S&P 500, we're still clearly in a bullish environment. We're channeling in this tight, narrow little channel to the upside. And, you don't want to jump ship. When you look at the plane or look at, the charts from a high level, 30,000 foot view, the trend is still up. The longer term trend in health is still there. Short term wise, though, it is showing a little bit of weakness temporarily. Now, where's money moving today? It's moving out of stocks a little bit. We are seeing bonds trade higher by almost 1/3%. They're trying to carve out a little bit of a bottom here. They've really popped in the last 20 minutes you can see on the 10-minute chart down below. So it's just starting to come to life. If we look at the dollar index, down about 1/4%, so continuing to kind of work itself down and take a bit of a breather. It has been stair-stepping its way higher, which is a nice healthy type of price action. And if we take a look at metals, we've got gold up 0.6%, so continuing yesterday's bounce. We have silver up another 1.3%, continuing its bounce or rally. If we take a look over at gold miners and silver miners, they were up substantially yesterday. They look like they're going to open up slightly higher again today. So again, we got a huge gap, big moves in the market. GDX definitely struggling a little bit here in terms of it is showing that it is in a downtrend. And of course, we've got this overbought market condition for the gold miners. So we'll see if the market gets some traction here for miners, if it can pop and break and snap back into an uptrend. But overall, today we could see a little bit of profit taking across the board in equities and potentially miners with some sellers, just because it's had a very strong rebound. I think it was a big short covering day, and it was a kind of a little bit of a news-driven day as well. So it's hard to get a gauge if it's just a bounce or if it is a real rally. If we take a look at Bitcoin, had a little bit of a bounce there yesterday, seems to be getting rejected at the 20-day, moving lower again this morning. If we take a look over at crude oil, it's up 0.8%. So it's trying to find a little bit of a bid here. It's kind of just been flagging down, figuring out if this is a little bull flag and it's going to try and push higher, or if it is just kind of, working itself out and moving down. You can see the trend here. When we look at the shorter term chart, it has been red bars telling us it was overbought. And of course, it's faded down since then. And we've got orange bars. So it's trying to turn its momentum to the upside, but we've kind of been flipping and flopping between a downtrend and neutral, downtrend, neutral. Today, we'll probably keep it in neutral territory. But again, the long-term trends are down. Just look at the moving averages. The 150-day, the 50, the 20, and the 5. They really give us a big view. Even if we just see this little snapshot of oil, we can be like, okay, well, the 150 days sloping more or less down. So we know long term, it's been going down for like 150 days. And then, of course, the shorter term trends are also down. If we just zoom out, you can clearly see it's in a downtrend. So the moving averages, the way they're layered and the way they're trending, either down or up, give us that idea of what they're doing from a short term and long term standpoint. So that's really about it. This morning, woke up to the sound of slush hitting the windows. It was cold, wet, rainy, drizzly. The wind just howling in off the bay. It's just like dirty weather today. So anyways, a nice day to work, nice day to follow the markets and catch up on things. And one kid has got a snow day. The other kid had to go to school this morning. So one happy camper, one not so happy camper. But the joys of going to two different schools, high school and elementary school, in two different towns, different directions. Anyways, take care. Bye-bye.